Gold Gang all day, man. You see it. Bang Bang Niner Gang, you know what time it is. Time for our jersey of the day. Yesterday I hit you with the P. Will rookie jersey. Apologies again if it's windy, but it is a beautiful day here in southern New Jersey. So I gotta hit you with a New Jersey, right? Yeah, you can see the top of it right now. You see I got the Niner Gang on, but you're looking and you're like, man, that jersey doesn't look like a 49ers jersey, but I assure you, this is the 49ers jersey. So, man, my guy T.O., he got in, and it's a travesty that they made him wait this long. And I just think that's disgusting. Not just that they made him wait, but the reasons why. I think one of the best ways and most effective ways we can kind of change what's going on with this NFL Hall of Fame is the voters shouldn't be anonymous. They should not be anonymous anymore. We should know who they are. They should have to speak up for themselves. All of this anonymity is just causing things like this, man. And it's a travesty, man. T.O. is not the first and he won't be the last if it doesn't change. And you know what's funny is he said the system is flawed, right? People jumped all over him for that. And then those same individuals say the system is flawed. They say it in their own ways and they say it for other reasons. Look at your Skip Bayless, who, when Terrell was on First Take and Undisputed and whatnot, and Terrell was saying the system is flawed. Skip's like, no, I don't think the system is flawed. But then in the same exact interview, he's talking about how they should have let Charles Haley in, and he had to write them letters year after year to get Charles Haley in because he belonged. And he just started naming a few players that he was trying to get in there and get him in there earlier or whatever. So what does that say? What does that tell you? If he's writing letters saying, there's a guy right here that's a Hall of Famer that you guys haven't let in the Hall of Fame, that is synonymous for the system is flawed. Because if the system weren't flawed, then why would he have to be writing letters advocating for somebody? And, you know, he also says ridiculous things. He tells lies, too. He says, oh, that Terrell Owens led the league in drops for 3 years and this and that. That's a lie all the way around. First of all, first and foremost, drops are not a legitimate statistic. I don't know if any of you knew that. But they don't really count drops as a real, statistical category. And do you know why they don't? Because it's totally subjective. There are balls that are, uncatchable balls, and then there are balls that are catchable that are just dropped. But it's impossible. They don't know where to draw the line at. Was it the quarterback's fault or the receiver's fault? Should the guy have caught it? They don't know that. So drops are not an official statistic. So even using drops is faulty logic, number one. Number two, even by the statistic that Skip is trying to claim, not just Skip, there were a couple guys that were actual Hall of Fame voters that tried to say that. Initially, all of their beef was off the field stuff and locker rooms and this and that, and they couldn't come up with one on-field reason. So and they knew they were wrong for that, so they tried to come up with an on-field reason saying he had too many drops. So Skip says, you led the league in drops 3 or 4 times. Nope, that's false. And again, the drop statistic does not really exist. Basically, it doesn't really exist. It's a private company that kept track of drops starting in the 90s. Look it up. It's called Stat LLC. So, they started keeping track of drops in the 90s. And Terrell Owens, by their record, led the league in drops once, not 3 times. So if that's the stat he's talking about, then he's wrong about that. And he's padding that stat to trying to make it look worse than it is. And let me show you the jersey of the day, man. 1996 Senior Bowl. This is his jersey coming right out of college. 1996 Senior Bowl. How dope is this? And this is an actual game jersey too. Check that out. Yep, the Russell. So, yeah, man, so back to this drop statistic. By those statistics, he led the league in drops once. You know what it doesn't account for, though? And do you know what else Skip doesn't mention? Skip loves to talk about Michael Irvin and how Michael Irvin was more valuable than Jerry Rice and big games, and he's big time, and he's this and that. I want you to look up on Stat LLC where Skip got his information about Terrell's drops. Look up how often Michael Irvin was up there. Number one, he led the league in drops more than once, and he was in the top 5, top 7 all the time. And not only that, I want you all to look at the list of guys who were leading the league in drops. And that statistic is skewed. And do you know why that statistic is skewed? It's because the guys who are big time receivers are always the top of that list. Always. Like I said, Michael Irvin was up there. And why are they high on that list all the time? Because they get more balls thrown to them, doofus. They get a lot more balls thrown to them, so they're naturally going to have more drops. But the drops that they're using as far as Stat LLC for that statistic, they're going numerically as far as how many drops. So that statistic is skewed because they're going numerically and not percentage-wise. If they were to change it and go based on the percentage of drops, Terrell Owens wouldn't be up there. And so Terrell led the league one time in drops, and do you know when that was and why that was? The dude was playing with a broken finger. As a wide receiver, playing with a broken finger is not easy. Like, it's not easy. And also, he didn't add either. That same year that he led the league in drops, he led the league in touchdowns. And again, why is that? Because these receivers, the top receivers, are always the highest on that list. Always. Because they get more balls thrown to them. So if there's one guy who has 10 balls thrown to him all year, and he drops 2 of them, then there's a guy who has 50 balls thrown to, let's say 100, make it a nice even number. A guy who has 100 balls thrown to him, and he drops 10 of them. Who dropped more? Who dropped at a higher rate? The guy who dropped 2 passes isn't going to be that high on the list because he only dropped 2 passes. But then there's a guy who dropped 10 passes, so he's higher on the list. And does that mean that the guy with more drops has worse hands or can't catch? No, not at all. What does that mean? That means that the guy who's higher on the list actually had a lower drop percentage. He dropped 10% of his passes. The other guy dropped 20% but only had 2 drops. So 2 out of 10 versus 10 out of 100. Like, that's just common sense. So my whole thing is, either these guys are operating out of ignorance and not knowing, or it's what I believe it to be, because Skip always says, oh, I did my homework. So that means if he did his homework, then he's privy to this information. He knows this information. He's just using it and spinning it the way that he wants to. And that's worse. I'd rather you be void of information and not know what you're talking about, which is bad enough. I'd rather that than for you to know and knowingly lie to us for whatever reason. But man, anyways, like I said, it's a beautiful day in New Jersey. Check it out. Jersey of the day. So this is a 1996 official Senior Bowl jersey. And on my mother, I'll let you slap me in the face if you find somebody else with this. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's one more person with it. And that is either Terrell has it himself or he gave it to a loved one or something. You're not going to find anybody else with this sweet, sweet doohickey. So yeah, I actually have another one that was ordered too. And so how did I get them? That's what people want to know. Well, I got them because I'm me. So again, these are official Senior Bowl jerseys. I hunted far and wide for these. I didn't want to make one or try to get one custom made. I really wanted it to be official. It had to be official, so I actually grabbed 2 of them, 2 of these Senior Bowl jerseys. And I just, the guys whose names and numbers were on there, I took it off. And of course, I got the legend, the man himself, Terrell Owens Senior Bowl jersey. Man, be on the lookout for the Road to El Dorado. You know, that's T.O.'s middle name and everything. So the little blog documentary I'm working on. And shout out to James Darnell too, who's going to be, he and I are partnered on this project. And I think it's really going to come out real dope. It's coming out in segments. So of course, initially the beginning is going to be the history of his career and everything. And then I'm going to talk about where it all went wrong and where things changed as far as the perception of him and why that's the case. And I'm going to go over it. So that's all going to be the first part. And then I'm going to address in that first segment, I'm going to address all of like the rumors about him and all the complaints that people have, you know, kind of just like what I did with the whole drops, except I'm doing that with every single one of their talking points. I'm shutting that down. From the Dallas Star incident, the Dallas Star, the way I'm setting that up, man, is going to be like that day in Terrell Owens' career that's like the November, what day was that? November 25th, 1955. I think it was the 25th. But yeah, whatever day that was, or 15th, I forget. But in Back to the Future, I'm not sure if you've seen it. And Back to the Future, that's the day where, they keep having to go back to that day because that's the day that everything kind of spiraled, and that was the fork in the road. So in Terrell Owens' career, that day was September 24th, the year 2000. So if you don't know what it is already, you can check it out. September 24th, 2000. That's when everything changed. And I'm just going to dispel a lot of these lies, man. I'm going to break it all down. So again, that whole drop statistic, they don't even keep that in the NFL. They don't keep that as a legitimate statistic, and it's because it's such a gray area. And you never know. So, but anyways, jersey of the day, basic 49ers New Era hat. I love this. Fitted, took it back to the fitted days. 1996 Russell. It's not pro line because it wasn't professional, but it's an actual game worn jersey. You can see that there's actually a tear in it from the game too. But Terrell Owens, man, bang bang Niner gang all day, man. Congrats on your induction. I can't wait to see it. I was hoping that the pose that they allowed him to use was from the Dallas Star, just him standing on the Star. How dope would that have been to have the Dallas Star in San Francisco's headquarters with the man himself standing in it, just embarrassing those people, and that wasn't even his intent. But they made it something that it wasn't. But again, I'll break all of that down again, man. Enjoy your day. Oh, it's so beautiful out here in Jersey. I gotta go train a client. So, yeah, with the other Senior Bowl jersey that I have coming, actually, I'm going to be getting him to sign that, and that's going in my future man cave. I was thinking about selling it initially, but I don't know if I can let that go, man. Yeah, I already have one. I'm not a greedy type person, not when it comes to money or anything, because if I were, then I'd just sell it because of how much it'd be worth, because exclusivity determines worth. So what that means is it's exclusive. Like, you're not going to see anybody else walking around with this on. And that's where the value is. The value is in something that you can get or you can have, and not many other people can have it. So if it were the case, if I were money hungry or something, then I'd definitely just put that on the market, because that could go for a good amount of money, especially when I get it signed. So, this documentary is going to be a real treat. Again, man, shout out to James, my boy Jimbo out in Cali. We're going to be working on this project together. It's going to be super dope. Oh, yeah, I put it together with the Kobe's, too. Yeah, all day, man. Have a good day.